Basically, I mean, here's one strategy to start immediately sounding more natural in American English. Hey guys, this is Jeff of Fluent American, and we are taking a look at filler words. Filler words, those little expressions or even just sounds that you make to help connect ideas or just show pauses in your speech. And a lot of times they don't actually have much meaning. They can be words or sounds that really aren't necessarily adding a whole lot in terms of meaning, in terms of semantics to your sentence. That being said, they do play an important role for things like buying time, expressing agreement, seeking confirmation, things like that. So we're going to be looking at some of the most common filler words in English. Let's start with a couple of ways to show agreement. So again, notice that this is usually spelled U-H-H-U-H, and again, it's pronounced like Just for the sake of comparison, this is the opposite of means no, but means yes. It means that you agree. Another filler word or expression that you can also use can be like right. But a couple of quick examples. So for instance, if someone says, hey, did you make it to the store earlier today? You can be like, yeah, I totally went. I was there. So again, it's just a way of saying like yes in a lot of ways, or saying that you agree. Also with right, you're also going to typically find right towards the end of a sentence with rising intonation. Right. And you may even hear it in the middle of stories. For instance, if someone's telling a story saying, I was at the store, right? And this guy that was in front of me, and then you can keep going on from there. So again, it's a way of kind of checking to make sure the person you're talking to agrees or is with you or is understanding what you're saying. Sometimes though, when you're talking, you need a word to kind of just buy some time, so that way you can think of the right thing you want to say. And that's where this next group is going to be super helpful. For instance, probably one of the more famous ones. Notice that schwa sound at the start. So again, you're just going to relax your mouth, raise that mid back of your tongue, but lower the very back of your tongue and lower the front. And again, relax your lips. And again, it's just like or another one. And again, these are just ways to show that you're thinking of the right word. So for instance, I was talking to Joe. Joe. Like I forgot Joe's name for a second. Who did I talk to? Joe. Joe. Hey guys, looking for daily pronunciation practice and feedback with me? You should definitely check out our Telegram pronunciation group. You can find more information at patreon.com/fluentamerican. Another one that you may also hear a lot, especially in kind of the stereotypical like Valley Girl California accent, is like. And again, to give an example, it was like one of the best movies I've ever seen. So again, just a way to kind of buy time, not really adding a whole lot. It's not like as in a comparison. It's just really a strategy to just get a little bit more time to think about what you want to say. Sometimes when you're talking too, you may need to summarize, or you're just trying to recapitulate everything that you said. That being said, when these words are added, in a lot of ways they could actually be removed, and the sentence really wouldn't change its meaning too much. Our first one here, basically. Notice that that second A is not usually pronounced. It's going to go right from that C to the L sound. So again, it can be used as a way of saying like to summarize. It can also be used as a way to make something sound simple. Basically, you just need a couple of ingredients. It's a way of saying you just need a couple of ingredients, or you don't need that many things. Similar idea with this next one too. Essentially, notice again that schwa sound to start, and then that ti often is going to make like a ch sound, like a ch sound. Essentially, ch, hear that there. Essentially, in another example sentence, essentially all the students did fine. Again, you could cut out that essentially, and the sentence would still have the same exact meaning. Essentially all the students did fine. Our next group, a quick strategy to seek confirmation, just to make sure again that the person you're talking to is understanding what you're saying. You can add you know, oftentimes with rising intonation, not necessarily always, but a lot. And a lot of times notice that the you gets reduced to just like yeah very often, To give you an example, I was just having a bad day, It's a way to kind of connect with the person you're talking to, because then it's like asking them, you've had a bad day before too, right? Like, I was just having a bad day, Like, you've had a bad day. You know what that experience is like. That's what the is doing. It's It's asking for empathy. It's seeking confirmation that the other person also understands. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. Next, when you're giving an explanation, here are a couple filler words that are a little bit more common. You see, and again, after you see, you expect someone to give an explanation. So for instance, if someone asks you, where were you last night? We were waiting for an hour. You could say, you see, I had some trouble with my car, or something like that. Again, it lets the other person know you're about to give an explanation. Again, it's not necessary to add this. You could just say, I was having trouble with my car. But it just adds a little bit more emotion, a little bit more of a pull towards that explanation. Similarly, I mean, and again, notice that rising intonation on it. I mean. Often used, for instance, if someone asks your opinion on something. For instance, if someone says, oh, do you like this shirt? You say, I mean, it looks okay. I mean, and then kind of get holding it, raising that intonation, and then expressing whatever it is that you want to say. Lastly, some common filler words that demonstrate degree of something, a degree of something. So for instance, our first one here, literally. Literally means pretty much like 100% or exactly. For instance, it was literally midnight when you called. It was literally midnight when you called. Again, if you're trying to emphasize just how late it was when someone called you. Maybe you wanted them to call you at like 6 or 7 and then they call you at midnight. It was literally midnight. It means it was like exactly midnight. Just a quick note, sometimes people are going to use literally without meaning like exactly. It's just kind of like a way of exaggerating. For instance, you could say like, oh, that test was literally a monster. That test was literally a monster. Of course, the test was not actually a monster. You're just exaggerating. A similar word, totally. Totally is often used as a filler word to signify completely. For instance, you could say, oh, my friend, he's totally okay with us using his car. My friend's totally okay with us using his car. That means like your friend is completely 100% okay with it. Again, it's just a way to kind of emphasize it. And again, like we mentioned before, not entirely necessary to have these words. It just adds a little bit more of an emotional touch, a little bit more energy. Have other filler words that you've heard in English? Be sure to let us know in the comments.